How's it going, Airsofters? After what's probably been the longest and most hyped wait for the release of an airsoft gun, I finally have my hands on the Krytac Kriss Vector, and lots of you have been asking me my opinions on it and whether it's lived up to the hype. Well, here are my views on it. When I first opened the box and picked the Vector up, I was immediately satisfied by the feel of it. The build quality and detail is amazing. It feels solid and well made and just what I'd expect from Krytac. The stock locks into place with a firm click. The fire selector and safety switch move into position with precision and a satisfying click as well. And the charging handle that can be used to open the hop window feels like it can take a lot of manhandling. The 295 round mid-capacity magazines that you get in the box snap into position precisely and suffer minimal wobble. The foldable battle sights that come with the Vector are extremely good quality too. I was a little disappointed that it only comes with one 20mm rail section. As for batteries, you're going to be needing to get a small LiPo, as there's really not a great deal of space in there. None of my other batteries fitted, so I had to get myself a battery specifically for the Vector. I opted for an 11.1 volt Turnigy Nanotech, and it's 1000 mAh, and it has a 20 to 40 C discharge. I know this is a weapon that you either love or you hate, but I think Krytac have done a fantastic job on the externals of this Vector. So now we get to the internals, and this is where I'm a little bit disappointed. Yeah, I know Krytac have probably put a lot of decent parts into the internals of this Vector that will probably be super reliable and last for ages, but my biggest gripe is the trigger. For an AEG that cost this much money, I wanted an amazing trigger. Even with the Nanotech 11.1 volt battery I was using, the trigger felt a little heavy and lazy, and didn't give the response that I crave for an AEG these days. Yes, the Vector has a micro switch trigger and a MOSFET, but I was hoping for a trigger like my old ASG Evo and my TM recoil with a BTC Spectre. I didn't necessarily want the Vector trigger to be programmable, I just wanted the trigger to make the gearbox complete a full cycle at the slightest touch of the trigger, like the Evo does. This brings me on to the 2 round burst mode on the Vector. We all know the ASG Evo has a 3 round burst function. You select 3 round burst on the fire selector, tap the trigger, and 3 BBs come out. The ASCU unit in the Evo knows how many times to cycle the gearbox. But with the Vector, however, and its 2 round burst function, you need to hold your finger on the trigger until the gearbox has completed 2 cycles. Let go too soon and it will fire 1 BB. Sometimes I was even having 3 BBs fired. Now my next complaint about the internals on the Vector is the Krytac 30k motor that they've fitted inside it. I know some of you love this motor, but to me it just sounds kind of scratchy, like it's been tightened up a little bit too much. Okay, so let's get it on the chrono. So over the 10 shots there, the shots were a little bit inconsistent, anything from 316 FPS up to 324 FPS. And with that 11.1 volt LiPo battery, it's giving about 20 balls per second. And the good thing about the Vector's quick change spring system, I've just swapped out the spring for an M120 I had laying about. A little bit higher FPS, a little bit better consistency, and surprisingly about the same rate of fire still. Right, so let's take a few shots at a target with it. Now this target is about 50 feet away, which is around about 20 meters or so, and I'm using 0.2 gram BBs, and I'm firing the Vector from a prone position. stock range and accuracy on the Vector isn't going to win any prizes. Please bear in mind that this target accuracy test is by no means a scientific benchmark test. There's a lot of factors that can affect the accuracy, number one being my poor aim. The Vector does have a couple of cool little features. The fire safety selector doubles up as a spring tension release. And if that gearbox is halfway through a cycle, putting the Vector into safe will release a tension from the spring. Another cool feature about the Vector is the quick change spring, which I'm now going to show you how to do. Just 2 pins are involved, one of which will need a Phillips screwdriver to undo it. The hop unit is a bloody good one actually. It's the usual Krytac rotary style, which means it's very precise, finding the position that is ideal for you. So in conclusion, am I in love with the Vector? Well, no I'm not just yet anyway. I've only had one game with it so far in a woodland, so perhaps not the ideal scenario for it. I'm looking forward to playing a bit of CQB with it, see how it performs then. The build and the looks are amazing, and I congratulate Krytac on that. The trigger has been a major problem for me really. It's actually spoiled the gun a little bit for me. If they'd have got that right, this gun would have been awesome, but I'm just not happy with it. Perhaps it's me just being fussy, but I feel they could have done a better job with it. Is the £440 price tag worth it? Well, I'm starting to think not. I know a lot of research and development has gone into this because they more or less designed it and built it from the ground up, but I can't help feeling that my £440 could have been better spent elsewhere maybe. Well, thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the Krytac Kriss Vector in the comments below.
I mean, it's basically like FPS except better graphics.